Welcome. My name is Ezzera Eve, and this is the 4 a.m. Film Fright Fest, where we show you the hidden gems in the world of short horror film. This is my co-host, Eleanor, the Gore-Girl. Eleanor is a lady of few words, but she leaves a lasting impression, mostly in the form of bloody footprints all over the floor.
I scare people.
Beware, viewers. Eleanor will haunt your dreams. She will kill you in your bed. But we're not here to discuss Eleanor. We're here for horror. In tonight's little artistic endeavor, we meet a woman who receives the worst birthday present. This one is called The Painting of Ebony Shaw. I rather like the painting. I'd hang it in my parlor if it wasn't at the bottom of that creek. Beats looking at Eleanor all day.
I'm hideous on the outside, but beautiful on the inside.
I saw your insides that time you vomited on the studio floor. Believe me, it was anything but beautiful.
You poisoned me.
Preposterous. Welcome. I'm your host, Ezzera Eve, and this is the 4 a.m. Film Fright Fest. You're in for a treat tonight. Tonight's film features what I consider to be one of the greatest characters ever committed to the screen. If she wasn't fictional, I'd invite her for a night on the town. Watch, and you'll agree. This one's called Soccer Mom. I don't have children, but I feel Nicole's pain. I left Eleanor on the side of the road and drove away, but she found her way back.
It was so cold out.
Perhaps I should lock her in a cage. Those poor souls in the film were understandably submissive. Although, with a nickname like Gore-Girl, I doubt her flesh would have much worth for a seamstress. Or would it? Eleanor, fetch my sewing machine and remove your blood-drenched clothes. Welcome. I'm your host, Ezzera Eve, and this is the 4 a.m. Film Fright Fest. Tonight's little march through the macabre is a terrifying tale about a man named Spencer, who hasn't had much luck in the dating scene. Having given up on traditional routes of romance, he turns to more ghoulish means. This one is called I'm in Love with a Dead Girl. Apparently, Lucy didn't take kindly to her corpse being used as Spencer's plaything. It seems the filmmakers ran out of film before we could see Spencer butchered in his bed. Until next time. Today's dark tale concerns a young woman who's afraid of her own shadow, something my mindless minion Eleanor can identify with.
Shadows scare me.
In the case of tonight's petrified protagonist, they're quite justified in this normally irrational fear. This tiny terror tale is called My Shadow is Trying to Kill Me. It makes me wonder how Darla's predicament came to be. What could she have done to anger her shadow so? What do you think, Eleanor?
Her roommate put a curse on her.
For what reason? Quarreling over a mutual love interest? Not everyone's love life is fraught with drama like yours, Eleanor. Welcome. I'm your host, Ezzera Eve, and this is the 4 a.m. Film Fright Fest. Tonight's short picture is brief indeed. Blink, and you'll miss it. This piece is called Ruby in the White Van. Predators, beware. So what is Ruby? A werewolf? A monster? A sadistic cannibal? Write the station with your thoughts.
She's a were-lion.
You're stupid, Eleanor. Welcome. I'm your host, Ezzera Eve, and this is the 4 a.m. Film Fright Fest. Tonight's offering concerns ghosts and flowers. I have men lining up to give me flowers, but poor loveless Eleanor has never touched one she hasn't plucked herself. Perhaps that's what torments tonight's ghost. See for yourself in Bouquet of Decay.
I had a man buy me flowers.
Who? Your Satanist ex-boyfriend?
Yes.
Be quiet, Eleanor. Everything you touch is contaminated with gore and filth, whether man or flower. Now, let the people watch. This one gives me much to think about. Eleanor, go fetch some wine.
Yes, Miss Eve.
That's Mistress Eve to you, Eleanor. Welcome. I'm your host, Ezzera Eve, and this is the 4 a.m. Film Fright Fest. Tonight's venture into the paranormal gives quite the life lesson. Choose your friends wisely. Better to be alone like poor Eleanor than have friends like those in tonight's story.
Nobody likes me.
Oh, could be worse, Eleanor. Now go draw me a bath. And not too hot this time, or I'll drown you in it. Tonight's oddly titled film is called simply Haunting the Apartment. The bald man must have struck our heroine very hard indeed to cause death. I strike Eleanor often, and she hasn't died on me. Yet. Poor Eleanor. I'm just joking. I have only love for you. Now, it's time for my bath. Welcome. I'm your host, Ezzera Eve, and this is the 4 a.m. Film Fright Fest. Tonight's slice of cinema is about a woman who must keep a close eye on the clock, for she suffers from severe bouts of, well, watch and see. This one is called Bloodbath. Do Victoria's bathing preferences remind you of anyone we know? Perhaps Victoria is Eleanor's mother.
My mother is dead.
Oh, right. I forgot. Hanged herself, poor thing. Imagine having Eleanor as your offspring. Didn't your Satanist ex-boyfriend die too?
Yes?
Everyone in your life befalls a tragic fate. Don't stand too close to me. Welcome. I'm your host, Ezzera Eve, and this is the 4 a.m. Film Fright Fest. Lock your doors, gentle viewers, for you never know who might be creeping in unannounced. For all you know, it could be Eleanor, the Gore-Girl.
I will come for you.
Pathetic, isn't she? Tonight's tale is a quick one called London Fog. Any film that starts with a boiling kettle isn't likely to have a happy ending. Eleanor, can you explain the meaning to us?
It's open for viewer interpretation.
Don't use words you don't understand. The meaning is completely obvious.
Then why don't you explain what it meant?
Because I don't take orders from you, I give them. Now, I'm feeling tense. Rub my shoulders. Eleanor is good for some things after all. This is the 4 a.m. Film Fright Fest. Sometimes I think my gore-dipped co-host Eleanor is a robot, full of nothing but grinding gears and circuit boards.
I am not a robot.
Good work, idiot. You just gave away the title of the film that was supposed to be my line. Tonight's short film is called I Am Not a Robot. I bet you're one of those self-described Einsteins who boasts they figured it out before the end. Admit it. Bravo! If you are, write the station with your address so we can send Eleanor to kill you in your sleep.
I'll do it.
Of course you will. That's why I lock my doors at night. Until next time, stay away from robots. Welcome. I'm your host, Ezzera Eve, and this is the 4 a.m. Film Fright Fest. Tonight I thought I'd put up my feet and watch a show. This one is about an evil woman whose son turns out not to be the person she thought he was. In fact, he turns out to be the last person she wanted. This one is called Reincarnate. Raise your hand if you've ever been struck violently with an axe. I meant normal people, Eleanor. 8 years old and our little man already knows the taste of revenge.
Revenge will taste so sweet.
Stick to your lines, Eleanor. No one wants your inner monologue. Welcome. I'm your host, Ezzera Eve, and this is the 4 a.m. Film Fright Fest. I apologize for eating on camera, but I'm starving. My co-host screwed up royally in preparation for tonight's show, and I spent so much time berating her that I missed dinner.
It wasn't my fault you took so long in makeup.
Everything is your fault. Now, wipe up those crumbs on the floor. Take some pride in the studio. At least I enjoy normal food. Unlike the woman in tonight's story, this one is called The Hunger. A coven of witches, a cabal of cannibals, a bunch of weirdos like Eleanor hangs out with in real life. Whoever they were, they seem like a fun bunch. Maybe I'll ask if I can join them in their next outing.
Can I come?
No. I'm your host, Ezzera Eve, and this is the 4 a.m. Film Fright Fest. The young fellow in tonight's story hates his job. Even if one hates one's job, there's always quitting time to look forward to. But what if quitting time never came? This one is called The Telemarketer. Do you enjoy your job, Eleanor?
Yes.
Wonderful. But I don't see anyone else showing up at the station caked in blood and viscera.
I can't help it.
Makes me wonder what you do in your private life.
Come to my house and I'll show you.
Not on your life, Eleanor. As for Craig, the fellow in tonight's story, do we think he'll ever find peace? Do we want him to? Welcome. I'm your host, Ezzera Eve, and this is the 4 a.m. Film Fright Fest. Children have such foolish fears, don't they? Though I suppose Eleanor is a full-blown adult, and her list of phobias is as thick as the phone book.
I have no fears.
Keep telling yourself that, dear. This one is called Under the Bed. Always listen to children. They're smarter than you suspect. On an unrelated note, do you think that Eleanor washes herself every night before going to bed? Or do you think she sleeps like this?
I'm always dirty.
You certainly are, Eleanor. That must be why our viewers send you so much fan mail. Although, I don't ever see anyone from the studio offering you a ride home. Who wants their seats covered in, well, you.
We're on.
Stand in your place, Eleanor. We'll finish this discussion later. Welcome. I'm your host, Ezzera Eve, and this is the 4 a.m. Film Fright Fest. Horror movies are full of monsters of all kinds, but tonight's film delivers you a new one. Future classic or a misfire dud? Decide for yourself after watching The Getch. I like the Getches, misunderstood creatures. Perhaps we'll see more of them in the future. Eleanor, kneel at my feet so we can finish our discussion. Throttling Eleanor feels heavenly.
And we're cut.
Why did you choke me so hard?
Oh, please. I'm sure you got it harder from your satanic boyfriend.
That's none of your business.
You're in show business, sweetheart. Your private life is everyone's business.